Okay. Welcome to the Rockport School Committee meeting of Wednesday, April 2nd. For the record, this meeting is being recorded audio and visual. For the record, we're going to go around and introduce everybody.
June Sanfilippo, Business Manager.
Mark Lorenz, School Committee Member.
Nicole Altieri, School Committee Vice Chair.
Kathy Riley, Chair.
Good evening, Mark Branco, Superintendent.
Amy Oakes, School Committee Member.
Jess Lisi, School Committee Member.
I feel like a Broadway star tonight. We have such a big audience. This is awesome. The first agenda item is, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from March 19th? And are there any questions? Corrections? Okay, great. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Great, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Aye, thank you. Do we have any public comment tonight before we get started? Okay, great, thank you. Do we have any correspondence, Dr. Branco?
We do not.
Okay, do we have any donations?
That we do. So we'd like to give a big shout out to the Galen Gibson Scholarship Trust for donating $2,000 to our middle and high school drama programs. Thank you very much.
That is so awesome. Do we have any personnel, Dr. Branco?
We do. So we would like to thank Charlie Reuter for his service to the middle school as a permanent substitute. He is moving on. And we welcome Amy, I'm going to say this wrong, Fideli, I believe. Welcome Amy Fideli. She was hired as the high school permanent sub in Charlie's position. So good luck to Charlie and welcome to Amy.
Do we have the Student Advisory Committee rep here tonight?
It does not look
Okay,
like it.
I'm just double checking. Okay, then I'd like to make a motion that we move our agenda items 10A, B, and C now. We'll have all of our presentations. Can I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay.
So we're going to turn it over to Principal Waterman and the crew from the elementary school. So excited to have you guys with us.
All right, we're going to start with third grade, and tonight we have Rose Bingle and Mo Twombly, and they are here to talk about our math program, iReady. So we worked together, the three of us, and Miss Goodhue to come up with some questions. So I'm going to ask Mo some questions. He's going to give us some answers, and then Rose, and they know you might have some follow-up questions when they're finished. All right, Mo, can we start with you?
Yeah.
Okay. What kinds of problems does your teacher, Mrs. B, start math class with?
Usually Miss B does word problems on the screens in groups.
You can push that down a little bit. There we go. Awesome. So do you get to work with someone at your table group? Is it just one, like you and one other student, or a couple of you?
No, it's the whole class. They all do it together.
Awesome. What is the agenda or to-do list like for a typical math class?
So usually we do the thing I just talked about, and first we do worksheets, and I think it can be boring, and test on the papers and computers.
Okay. What's your favorite part of math class?
Fluency Flight.
That was a question for later. So what is Fluency Flight?
Fluency Flight is a thing in iReady that you're expected to do 4 days in a row to get fluent with something.
And what are you working on in Fluency Flight right now?
Multiplication facts.
And it's all on the computer?
Yes.
Okay. One other last question for you, Mo. Can you explain what MyPath is and what do you like about it?
I like MyPath because you can get coins to play learning games, and also everyone is on a different level, and because they all are different.
So it's my path, meaning you and Rose might be working on different things based on where you're at in math class.
Yes.
Awesome. And when you can earn coins, you can earn to play different math games on the computer.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite one?
I like all of them.
Awesome. Thank you, Mo. You can hit the button. Okay, Rose, what do you think about the math workbooks?
I think the math workbooks are really well because there are lots of word problems, and it really makes you like focus and make you reread them a lot. And since iReady has a lot of like characters and little games in it, it makes it not as boring.
Do you ever get to solve problems with your friends?
Yeah, we do some problems where we go in groups, but most of the time we just like raise our hands and we do it all together.
And Rose, what do you think about math in general?
I think it's useful because you have to use it in real life, but especially iReady is pretty fun because they add little things into it.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. Wait 1 second. Do you have any questions for either of my friends?
How do you think, as you get a little older, you're going to use math in real life outside of the classroom?
I think when you get older, you need it for a lot of things. Like you might use it in your job or counting money or a lot of things like that.
The same thing she said.
All right. It's always good going second.
All right, you guys are all set. Okay, next we have grade 4, Eloise and Ronan, if you would like to come up, and they're going to talk about our new reading program, HMH.
One of the reasons I like HMH is because they have lots of different types of stories that they tell you that you can, then they ask you questions about those stories to teach you about reading. Like they have different genres like fiction, folk tales, and myths. And I also like the way that Waggle is set up to be like a game, and you can collect coins for doing lessons, and then in turn play games, sometimes even with other people. And it's also a lot like the diagnostic, I think, because it's different for everyone, and you could be doing something, but it's kind of like how iReady. It's dependent on your level, your grade level, and like.
Based on your skills, right?
Yes, it's based on your skills.
Awesome. Ronan, can you talk a little bit more about Waggle and what it is?
Waggle's basically it's a game sort of that you can customize your player or character or whatever, and you can do lessons. They will tell you stories that can have different genres, and then they will ask you questions. Sometimes you can do a special practice where they will tell you it'll be like if you get one right, then you get one wrong, you lose the points that you got from the last one, which is nice because it kind of like, what's it called? Pushes to get it right every time. And if you end with a big streak, you can get a ton of points for coins. Yeah. Okay.
Anything else you want to say?
No.
All right, you can hit your button. All right, Eloise, can you share your experience with HMH?
Yeah, some things I like about HMH are some of the nonfiction stories that they give us. Some of those stories teach you about things like social studies or geography. Some of the geography stories had poems in them about things like the Grand Canyon or the Mariana Trench. And the poems are cool, but they have real facts too. The online quizzes are also cool, and I like being able to see my answers and my scores at the same time. The vocabulary activities that Mr. Whitley assigns us online are also really fun. And reading stories in the workbooks is cool because the story is near the comprehension questions we do at the end.
And you had said that there's not a lot of space in the workbook to write your answers, so do you put those on just lined paper?
Yeah, I like writing question answers down on white line paper and then giving that to Mr. Whitley.
Awesome. Any questions for these guys?
Do the computers ever break down in the middle and kick you out? Do you ever have those problems?
Like,
No, I've never had that problem.
I've had that like once or twice. You've had it happen? I've had that like once.
Hi, guys. Is this something that you do just at school, or do you also do it at home?
I only do this program at school, and not all of the kids at home have like computers and things that they can use, and this is accessed through the like ClassLink thing that we use for the school.
That's what she said. I don't use it at home.
I just want to say before you get up that you're in 4th grade, right? When I was in 4th grade, I don't think I used words like diagnostic and comprehension. Genre. So you're way ahead. You're going to be way beyond superintendent really soon, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to have Declan join us. He is a 5th grader, and he's going to talk about FOSS science.
So, FOSS science, we have things like we'll do these like labs every once in a while, and those are pretty fun. But really, we have many lessons that'll lead up to a lab, and we'll use that knowledge from those mini lessons into the lab. The labs are super fun because you get to work with your group, and with that group, you will have like instead of working individually by yourself, you'll have like a sense of almost like working with other people instead of being yourself. So yeah, about that, you would learn about things like the plant cycle, the food chain, the night and day cycle. That's just like the fundamentals of science there. So we have journals that we write down notes during our lessons, and you use those journals during labs or tests. So the journals are very useful, but you also have to pay attention. So a lot of times, sometimes I even have not paid attention during class, and that can really mess you up during a test or something like that. But if you really focus, I think science is a very, very fun class.
I just want to say I appreciate your honesty.
Thank you.
How about a favorite lab so far?
We did a filtration lab where we had to filtrate. So we had like a problem, like there was a flood in our town, and we had a bunch of garbage and stuff, and so we had a cup, and we had another cup on top with a hole in the bottom, and we'd have to use certain materials to filtrate all the dirty water and stuff, and you had to get a certain grade of water to pass the lab.
Nice job. You're going to stay. Declan's going to stay here, and Rosalind, she's another 5th grader. She's going to join us, and they're going to share some information about our SELA class, Social Emotional Learning Activities. Do you want to go first?
So SELA is just like a class where we like mostly learn to like cooperate with each other and stuff. But like the activities we do depend on the teacher that we're doing them with. For 5th grade, the teachers like have teams. So the music teacher and the art teacher are working together, and the tech teacher and the library teacher are working together, and the gym and the health teacher are working together. And so like the first week we would have like the gym and health SELA, and then we would have the music art SELA, and then it would just like keep going like that. And so we would do different activities for each teacher. For health and gym, we would usually like run around in the gym doing like active kind of activities, like teamwork activities mostly. And for like usually for tech library we would read stories and then discuss it. And in art and music we would usually separate into groups, and half of us would go to the art room and do like a sketch or something, and half of us would stay in the music room to like compose a song.
So Rosalind here talked about basically what we do during SELA. I'm going to talk about what we'd learn in SELA and how we'd use it in real life. So during SELA, usually you'd get into groups, and this is very useful during life because it helps you with the social part of life. So if you're talking to someone or negotiating with someone, you can use that learning from SELA to put it into that situation. And you can also, during SELA, you have opportunities to understand people's feelings and their perspectives, because during those group sessions, you will have people doing stuff that you may not like or things that you do like, and then usually during health or another one, you would get like a sense of what they're feeling. And also, depending on what class you go to, you will have certain things that you'd work on other than the social learning. So like during art and music, you'd have like a creative group project, or during health and PE, you'd have more of a athletic and physical learning, and then during library and tech, you use more of your mind.
Any questions for Rosalind and Declan?
A two-part question, actually. So how often does the SELA class meet? And then do you think that's enough time, or do you wish it met more, or is it too much? What do you think about?
So I think that it's just about the right time. So about an hour is about our regular special. So I think it's perfect the way it is. It fits in perfectly with our schedule. And I like the timing with it.
Usually our SELA class is 45 minutes long, and I think that's just like the right amount of time, because it's enough time to get something done, but like not like so much time that people get like bored of the activities that they're doing.
Whatever you want to do, yep. Just make sure whoever's talking is pressing the button and holding it up in front.
You guys come line up.
All the people at home want to watch this on TV, so you're going to make sure.
All right. So I'm Amy Rose. I'm the middle high school principal, and we thought we could authentically share a little bit about the journey. So we just heard from the elementary school of what they're learning around social emotional learning and their academic journey. And this is an eclectic array of juniors and seniors who are going to talk a little bit about their experiences through the Rockport Public Schools. They all have a very different experience and are willing to be vulnerable with us tonight. Some of them have really taken advantage of every academic and extracurricular. Others have maybe taken their own path and are sort of getting to where they need to be for a variety of reasons. And we just thought it would be really important to share all of their stories with you to highlight the work that we're doing in a more authentic way. So hopefully they'll cover some of the programs that are up there, but really I've asked them just to come and express what Rockport Public Schools have meant to them. And as people who have been through elementary, middle, and high. I think sometimes when we're in the midst of a journey in elementary and middle school, we feel like maybe we'll never get through, or maybe we'll never get to where we want to be. And they all have really powerful and beautiful stories about where they've been and what they've done. So I'll start with Wyatt. And you can introduce yourselves and your grade as you
Great.
go along.
My name's Wyatt Wilkinson. I'm a junior in 11th grade. First off, thank you to Superintendent Branco and the school committee for having us here tonight. I think this is great that we can all share our stories. I just want to talk about, I've had a great time as I've gone through high school working with my teachers, Miss Rose and the guidance department, to really form a path unique to me and to my goals. I can work with guidance a lot, very often, and we've worked together like a really challenging schedule that also fits in time for sports or music or other things I want to do. So this year in particular, I've got to work in the AP chemistry class, which is something we're running, I think, for the first time this year. Yep. And it's one of the more difficult high school classes, I think, that can be offered by the AP program, but it's gone pretty well so far. It's difficult, but we're doing a pretty good job, I think. And then I'm looking forward next year to working calculus and then physics as well.
I'm Brooke Cody. I'm also a junior in 11th grade. And I think that Rockport, as small as it is, it's also a very special place. And that's what makes it so almost difficult and easy at the same time to navigate. And I remember my freshman year, I was doubtful about Rockport and where I wanted to be and where I was fitting in. And Miss Rose helped me a lot through that transition and making it easier. And I also know that the people that work in Rockport and are with you in Rockport make it so much easier for you to find your place specifically for you, and they really care about you. And that's what's so important. And I know that Wyatt and I are also taking AP Chemistry together, which has been a challenge, but it's also so helpful to have the people that guide you and know exactly where you're supposed to be, which is so nice. So, yeah.
My Rockport years were a lot more different than people. I didn't really have many friends throughout middle school and throughout freshman, sophomore year. During my sophomore year, I ended up deciding to switch out of Rockport and try online school, which ended up not working out. But Rockport High School ended up really helping me get back on track with my grades. I ended up maintaining better grades than I had before. And they really did a good job making my motivation and making me a lot more confident in the things that I do in my schoolwork.
Hello, my name is Paul Paoni. Thank you for having us. I came to Rockport in second grade. I came from Danvers. My father owns Family Car Care in Gloucester, so we're familiar with the community. We moved down here. I was never the best student. I'm sure some of my teachers formerly can attest to that. When I started high school, I was very much, college has never really been something I've been looking at. I was very much looking forward, can't wait to get this over with, be done, go live in and work. But now that I'm reaching the end of my high school career, I have really come to appreciate the bond that Rockport has as a town, as a school. We have so many excellent people in the school who will support you no matter what. I compete in martial arts. I don't do any school sports. And so many teachers, Mr. Parisi, have asked me, when's your next match? All just been so supportive and willing to help me succeed in all my goals in the classroom and outside of it. And I think we have such an incredible bond as a school. And I've grown to love Rockport. And I wish I could stay a little bit longer. I think maybe not all of the staff would agree with that, but I've really enjoyed my time here, and that's not something I ever envisioned for me. And I'm very grateful to have grown up here in such a nice community.
Hello, I'm Lassen Ando in 12th grade. And I guess I would just like to spend my time up here talking about how grateful I am for Rockport and Miss Rose's ability to foster every different personality. Like everyone up here, we're all just, we're all different in our own ways. And throughout my high school experience, I've noticed I feel like I have changed a lot. And Rockport has always been there for me. All the teachers and all the connections that I've made, they've all been there for me throughout changing as just a teenager going through life and getting prepared to move on from high school. And looking up at the board, you know, I've been able to take advantage of all the opportunities that Rockport has had to offer, like including AP classes, music. I've gotten to be first violin this year and concertmaster, so I've been able to test out leadership roles, been able to be on student advisory committee. I did a Project Lead the Way class. I am going to take the Seal of Biliteracy exam this month. And Miss Duffy, you know, I don't have super high hopes for myself, but I've gotten support from her to take it just to see where I'm at in my Spanish studies. With the capstone program, the new program that they have this year, I will be working alongside Miss Rose for my internship as kind of to test out, you know, what's it like to run a school? What do you have to think about? What about budget? What about kind of more of a politics sort of role? So that's just kind of another thing that, like, I'm so grateful that I have a principal that I get to intern. You know, I'm sure like a lot of people can't really say that. So it's just a great opportunity, and I feel that I've always had enough opportunity at Rockport to just take care of all of the things that I want to learn. So, yeah, very appreciative.
Hi, I'm Ella Silver. I'm a senior. Like everyone who's spoken before me, I've had such a wonderful experience at Rockport High School. I've loved all my teachers and had great experiences with my classes, as well as sports and student government. But I've chosen to talk about something that's a little more outside of the classroom, and forgive me, I have it written on my phone because I wanted to be able to articulate myself properly. So tonight I've chosen to talk about my favorite experience from high school so far, which was my trip to Spain last year. I've always loved traveling with my family, but last year I had the opportunity to travel to Madrid, Granada, and Sevilla, Spain, with about 20 other students from Rockport High School. I'm so grateful that I got to experience this trip with 3 of my best friends along the way, but I'm also almost more grateful that I got to experience it with people from school that at the time I wasn't as close with. Because Rockport is so small, it is often assumed to be a place where everyone knows everything about everyone else. And although aspects of this statement are true, there are still people at school that you aren't always going to fully get to know. That's just how it goes naturally. I think that Rockport is really special in the way that it provides its students with so many opportunities to make connections outside of the classroom. With trips like Spain, the Dominican Republic, Italy, and Croatia, students are provided with exposure to new cultures and countries, as well as further exposure to the people they share the hallways with. Academic growth is without a doubt a massive aspect of the high school years, but the social emotional growth is just as important. And after that trip, I saw growth in myself, as I had grown immensely closer with the other students on the trip, as well as unlocked a confidence in myself, knowing that I was capable of traveling the world without the safety net of my family to catch me. I will never forget my trip to Spain, not only for the amazing sights we saw, but for the connections I gained along the way. I will always be thankful that RHS provided such an amazing experience, and I know that they will continue to do so for years to come. I think it really developed my high school experience further because I got to learn about history and culture outside of a classroom setting, which can make things so much more immersive and interesting. So I'm very thankful to Miss Rose and the high school for providing that opportunity.
Hi, I'm Jalen Young. I'm a senior. When I started middle school, it was hard socially. I didn't really have a set group of friends, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. But there was always one thing I was very certain that I loved, and it was music. I've always loved to sing, and I was able to play violin since 4th grade. And Rockport really gave me an outlet to be able to do that, specifically Mr. Cohen and all the teachers I've had since. They've really given me that outlet and the creative liberty to do what I've wanted to. I was able to take a lot of classes, as this year I'm taking 7 music classes. They've really given me the opportunity to express not only my love for music, but the way that it makes me feel. We get the opportunity to perform at the Shaylin Liu twice a year, and we also get the opportunity to have concerts at the high school all the time. And as well as Ella, my sophomore year, I took a trip to Italy as a music department tour, and I was able to have a solo where I sang a song that really highlights what it feels like to be in high school. It was Creep by Radiohead, and it kind of highlights feeling isolated. We kind of turned it into a slower song, and it really helped me highlight what it felt like to be in high school, but also what to appreciate about it. And Miss Rose has always come to every concert, and after every concert, she emails me and says how much she appreciates the music. And I've always just felt comfortable and safe in the music rooms and in the music space. It's always felt like a home to me. And no matter what I felt about being anywhere else, I always knew I had a safe place there. As well as the capstone program, I was able to take another music class through that learning place. And yeah, it's really given me the opportunity to be who I want to be and do what I want to do. And now I'm able to go to a college in Nashville, Belmont University, for music.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm real nervous right now. Also, really smart kids over here. I was nothing like that when I was younger. I had a really difficult time growing up, kind of. I went to the North Shore Academy. It's like a kid for like bad kids, if you want to say that. But I went to Rockport, and I went 2nd grade, and then I left there, came back in 7th grade. And it was probably the best time of my life, honestly. I made a lot of friends. Paul over here helped me a lot through the years. Miss Rose, Miss King, they've always been there for me. So sports, Mr. Whitley, Mr. Parisi, they've always just helped me through a lot. So I don't really got a lot to say. But this school just really can take care of you, I guess, in a way. So, yeah, thank you.
You guys are the best. Before I open it up to school committee questions, I just wanted to ask you guys, because I know many of you have obviously participated in things like assembly every week, and many of you have presented at assembly. Some of you have spoken. Many of you spoke just a couple weeks ago. And I'm just curious if you had any thoughts of how things like that or things you've experienced add to the culture of the school. Anything you want to say about any of that? Anything that you want to?
Thank you, Patrick. I love you too. I think that assembly is incredible for our school. In such a small school, we should know everybody, right? Everyone should be able to call everyone at least an acquaintance. I hope a friend. But assembly is wonderful for our school. It really brings everyone together. And it's not assembly as one would just think, where we're sitting down, we're talking about scheduling, no one wants to be there. Miss Rose makes it fun, interactive. We do things as every class does things as a grade, but we do things as a school. And I think that's really wonderful that we get to do that. And we're able to come together as a community once a week. And at these assemblies, usually people are a little hesitant to speak up. First thing Miss Rose, she says is good morning, everyone. And I have never heard a crowd of students, everyone says good morning back. I think we truly care about each other a lot in Rockport. And Miss Rose and all the staff really make that assembly something that I look forward to. And I think I can speak for a lot of my fellow students that it really is a good time. And I think it really highlights our ability to come together as one. Everyone is quiet, attentive, and we have fun. So thank you, Ms. Rose.
And then one question just about some of the AP classes. I just wanted to see if any of you that are in them had anything exciting to share about, like, something that really challenged you. Like, I know they're all different, and Wyatt and Brooke and I have had this conversation recently, but this is for anybody, about how every teacher has their own style and approach, which can make them really challenging sometimes to navigate, but also really cool and exciting. Wyatt or Brooke, I know we've talked about this recently. Did you want to talk about the differences?
I can talk about kind of something else a little bit. Last year I had the opportunity to double up in math. I took an AP statistics class. I think there was one or two other sophomores in it at the time. I think Ella was in it as well. It was a lot of fun. We learned like a lot of real world math, and I thought that was really interesting. And that was with a new teacher who I hadn't had before, Mr. Lonsby. He's great. And then now I have him this year, and then I'll have him next year for calculus too. And the same thing is lined up with the chemistry teacher. I'll have them for 3 years. And especially with the upper level teacher, to have them as like a sophomore or a junior and then have them later for an AP class, it can really mean a lot because you get to know them, then they get to know you too, and it helps, especially when the coursework gets really hard, because they know how to best cater to you and your abilities and how you learn.
I think that it has been really important, especially for Wyatt and I and everyone in those harder classes, that the teachers that we have made it so known that they care about us, and they're extremely difficult classes, and it can feel very stressful to even walk in the door and be ready for a certain class like that and be excited for that. But once you really get going and you feel confident in yourself and you get that kind of motivation, it's so rewarding, and the way they reward you and they make you feel known, it's so special. And especially with Ms. Cafaso in chemistry and Mr. Lonsby in pre-calculus right now, he's just so kind to us and makes you feel special and makes you kind of stand out in the class when you put yourself out there, which I think is very special.
So Ella, Wyatt, and I are all in AP Bio, and it's going really well. We are on track for our AP exam on May 5th, and Bio especially, it helps you understand the science of the world around you, and I find myself, particularly for that subject, just like constantly looking around me and like just thinking the most like smallest details that you would never really think about, like the air or just the water, or when it's sunny out, what do the plants do? I don't know. It's just, the science of it. It's very interesting. And then also similarly for me and Ella in AP Calculus, we have an exam tomorrow morning. Wish us luck, please. It's been a struggle for real. But honestly, it's made me have an appreciation for less of the math. The math is difficult, but almost the problem solving is the bigger task to handle, because you have to look at these complex, not even numbers, literally letters, and understand what to do with them, symbols and everything. And it's more of a test for your mind to not only remember, but just to kind of trust your intuition, make sure that you study enough, and kind of learn what to do in situations that can be so applicable to life, where you just have to think about what do I know? How do I know how to solve this problem? What's in my toolbox that I can use to help with that? And that's honestly what I've gotten out of AP Calculus. I never thought I would make it to AP Calculus. I never thought of myself as a math person, and I don't really know if I still do, but I guess AP Calc has kind of changed my viewpoint and made me maybe not into a math person, but more into like a problem solving person in a way. Do you have anything to say about calc?
I completely agree with what Lassen had to say. Calculus is such a fundamental subject, and it's very daunting. Like, I remember going into this school year knowing that we were taking AP Calculus and being very nervous, but like Wyatt said, Mr. Lonsby teaches that class, and he is genuinely one of the kindest people I've ever met, and I'm so grateful to have had him as a teacher for multiple years. And I think the lessons that I've learned in that class are going to help a lot. And I wanted to speak about one other thing that has to do with AP classes. So one of the programs you're going to see on the board back there is VHS Learning. So I am going to the College of William & Mary next year to study computational and applied mathematics and statistics. So it's a very broad major, and it involves a lot of things like biology, calculus, statistics, but it also involves computer science, which is a class that is not offered directly through Rockport High School. So in order to take that class at the AP level that I wanted, I had to go through VHS Learning. So I just wanted to talk about that for a second, because I'm wrapping up that part of my high school year as I'm preparing for the exam. I'm pretty sure that I'm the only student in the school taking that class right now, and I'm one of 3 people over the years to have taken that class through Rockport High School. And it's all online, it's all virtual, it's week-to-week basis, but I'm just very grateful for the opportunity that VHS has given me because, and not just me, there are plenty of other students in the school that are taking different VHS classes, but it gives us the ability to take on coursework that we might not have had direct access to through like in-person learning, just based off what works with the schedule. So I truly believe that that helped me get into the college that I wanted to go to and the program I wanted to study because it helped me like round out my course load and give me access to such an important class in this day and age, since computer science is really fundamental in everything right now.
So I also took a VHS class last year, so just to touch on that really quickly. It was a music theory class and also music composition. Rockport offers a ton of music classes, and they're all amazing. And with the help of the VHS class, I was able to get into more of like the music theory aspect of learning about music. So VHS really helps with like the smaller aspects of learning that you want to figure out and educate yourself on. And it's a really good opportunity that Rockport offers.
Thank you so much. So I think we'll open it up to questions. I just wanted to thank the students for being here, and also just to say, I know we talk a lot about inclusivity and creating a sense of belonging, and you know, Patrick at the end sort of says his story isn't maybe as exciting as everyone else's, but I don't think that's true at all. I think the stories of each of our students are so, you know, exciting and interesting, and it just really takes so much for them to get to where they are. And so I just appreciate them being here and sharing that with us tonight. So thank you guys. Do you have any questions for them?
Has anybody, not that you guys aren't already doing a ton of stuff, have you been able to take advantage of internships? I know you mentioned working side by side with the principal, but is anybody else doing an internship?
So I'm going to send the mic, but the internship program is starting on Monday, and we are going to be coming back to do an update on what everybody is doing, but they should all at least know what think they're going to be doing if you guys want to share your topics. Or seniors, not all.
So this year I was able to take a new class that Rockport was offering, and it is songwriting with Mr. Cohen and Mr. LaRue. And we got to learn about like the technical parts when you're like audio engineering and music, but also like songwriting and what it means to write important lyrics. And we had the opportunity to go into the Cut Music Studio in Gloucester and record our songs. And I kind of took that as my idea for my internship. So what I'm doing for mine is writing songs and learning how to produce them on my own. And hopefully we'll be able to put them out on like platforms and stuff. It's kind of a stretch, but it's given me the class gave me an opportunity to figure out what I wanted to do with my internship. And I was nervous at first because it's not like I was working with an employer. It's kind of something I'm doing on my own with the help once a week with my music teachers. But I'm just really lucky that I got the opportunity to do something that I love and that I'm going to be pursuing at college. And yeah.
Anybody else want to? No? Yeah. All right.
Right, Miss Huber?
Right, Miss Huber.
I'm going to be. The internship requires a minimum of 30 hours a week at your designated location. So I'm going to be working at the Fish Shack. Feel free to come visit me. I can make a mean carbonara. So I'm going to be learning different skills in the kitchen and hopefully some bartending skills. There's good money in that, so I hear. So, yeah, I'm very grateful for that opportunity. That is really awesome that we get to take all that time and learn something new. So that's what I'm doing. Anybody else?
I got a pretty chill one, I'm not going to lie. I get to work with my grandfather, Tim Reardon. Pretty great guy. He's kind of built. He's kind of jacked. Yeah, I'm just working on a boat this year. So, because our boat got messed up last year. One of my buddies broke them. But it's okay because I'm going to redo it, and then I'm going to landscape my uncle's backyard. Nice and easy.
For my internship, I'm going to be basically working at the same place I worked before, except a higher position. I'm going to be working under my manager, so I'm going to be helping managing the checkout, service desk, drive up and go, and basically anything in the checkout area. So,
Any other questions?
First of all, thank you all for being here on a school night. I'm sure you had a lot of other things you could have done. You've been here a long time. I think we all really appreciate it. One of the things that I hear out in the community sometimes from people who don't have kids in school, I hear people who say, oh, our schools are so tiny. There must not be enough for students. Did you get enough in Rockport schools? Did you need more? Or did you get enough? Did you get enough sports? Did you get enough activities? Did you get enough academic challenge? Did you get enough help from your counselors? Wow. Yeah.
I'd like to touch on sports really quick because that was something that I wanted to mention. I am a runner. I got injured a couple of years ago, but freshman and sophomore year, I competed in both fall cross country and then spring outdoor track and field. And both of those programs I did I did them with other schools. I did cross country with Manchester Essex, and then outdoor track and field was with both Gloucester and Manchester. Mm-hmm. So we made that one huge team, so many athletes, such an amazing experience. Sadly, I could only do it 2 years, so it was four sports seasons. But it was just such an amazing opportunity to get to know other kids from a different school. And I think that is one of the best opportunities to kind of bridge that gap because, yes, we are a smaller school and we don't have the room for a cross-country team or something like that, but there are schools available next door, and it builds more community. It gave me enough. I was able to compete in the sports that I wanted to. I know all of my classmates who also do sports get to compete in all those sports that they want to. I mean, I have friends who do. Ella here does 2 sports every year. Another one of my friends does 3 sports, like one every fall, winter, spring, crazy stuff. And I think that there's definitely no gap there because of the ability to do. I mean, I know that there's football with Manchester Essex and then got the running. So I really think that helps to make that gap a little bit smaller. It was a great opportunity for me.
Sorry, Jalen. I'll hand it to you after. I was very lucky to have been able to train martial arts while I was in school. I think for plenty of students, the sports programs are incredible. I do think possibly a co-op for wrestling would be a really good idea down the line, at least to offer it. I would have loved to wrestle during high school. Very fortunate that I was able to train in Wakefield, Salem, North Reading. But I think a wrestling program could be amazing. It's a great workout. It teaches kids to defend themselves, and I was a bit of a troubled younger man, as I guess I could say, and martial arts really set me on the right path. Miss King knows. I used to be very angry when I was younger, and I've been doing martial arts since I was 5 years old. Very grateful for that opportunity, and I think a co-op program with one of the surrounding schools for wrestling could be super beneficial for the student body.
I just want to touch on, Miss Rose makes it very known to everybody, but I think we get a really good opportunity because we're such a small school that if there isn't a club or if there isn't something at the school, we have the opportunity to talk to our principal or our vice principal or anybody and offer it and wanting to start it. I know Lassen started a club about living life large where she went out on like adventures. So I think it's really cool that even though we are a small school, if there's not something there, we can create it and then enjoy it.
I think that's a great question and definitely kind of a bigger issue that a lot of people look at in the smaller school. And I would say there's a lot of areas like sports or music where we definitely do have enough for anyone that wants to do anything, but there are also some things that you kind of have to put in the work for, and you really have to be like willing to put forth an effort, especially certain areas in academics or challenge scheduling issues, just because it's so small. But like, we have such a great team with guidance, Miss Rose, Miss King, Mr. Parisi, and everyone's really like, they're at to bat for us, and things that we want to push for, goals we have, they're willing to work with us, and sometimes it's just not possible given the size of the school. But I think it's definitely a big issue. But overall, I'd say that yes, we do have enough, but you really do have to work for it in some areas.
So before you guys go, I have worked and lived in a lot of communities with a lot of different schools. And I think now more than ever, it's easy to be glass half empty. It's easy to be negative. It's easy to get asked a question and quickly pivot to what's wrong with something in your life and in the world. So I'm really proud that tonight your focus was on, hey, I'm at the end of my junior year, the end of my senior journey, and that you're able to share some positivity in today's world. And I'm looking at all your faces, and a lot of you I know have been through some ups and downs, even in the past 6 months. And so I'm proud that you can spin that and really talk about the value that Rockport Public Schools has offered, because our job up here is to make sure the kids coming after you get it even better and even better and even better. And we're proud to do that for you. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
We sure appreciate the principals. We really appreciate the principals. Thank you. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of people you rounded up. A lot of students tonight. Thank you all.
Good luck on AP or whatever else you guys have to do tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
RES Elementary, thank you. Don't miss your bedtime.
Thank you, students. OMG, they're so cute. That fifth grader's ready to be the superintendent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to give Principal Waterman and Principal Rose a 30-second breather, and then they're coming up to talk to us about the family partnerships series.
Yeah, we should have gone first. But that was amazing. I don't know. We started that. I think we started the year with that, with the kids coming and sharing a little bit too. So we did a little more prep with the elementary students this year, just because they're all talking about such different things. But they're amazing. They're why we do this every day.
It's because we get to see the fruits of all the labor, you know.
I don't always
Pre-K
get
through 12.
So this year, one of our goals, Amy and I, was to have we wanted to, I guess, increase our family engagement. So we had some ideas around that, and Amy really started it with implementing some things, some topics with her high school students as well. So this year we partnered with Bloom, that is based in Gloucester, and they are an amazing resource for us. It is run by 3 women, all have children, all have been through highs and lows with their kids and just experienced a lot of great things in life. And they are an incredible resource for us. So we partnered with Bloom to help us find 3 different speakers for our different events this year. The first one we kicked off in November, which was called Beyond the Screen. And Katie Greer came to the high school in person to speak. She was wonderful, very engaging. We had a okay size, maybe 20-ish, a little bit more people in attendance. And she talked a lot about exactly the title, Building Healthy Screen Habits and Social Media Awareness. And I loved that she gave a lot of perspectives from her own experience with her own children, but made it known that this is what I do, but it might not be right for your family, which I think a lot of people appreciated. Want to talk about the next one?
Sure. So the next 2 we decided to do on Zoom at the direction of Bloom had basically said they could get different speakers from across the country who had different skill sets that were more accessible if we did it through Zoom. So we were a little hesitant about that at first because a part of it is getting into the building and connecting with families. But the speakers that they got were absolutely amazing, unbelievable speakers. And the beauty of that is that even though the turnout was not as high in those Zoom sessions, they have given us polished recordings that we can then redistribute and reuse. So the vaping, drugs, and alcohol one that we did in January, they've already gotten to us, and we've been able to really re-release it to parents. The Kids Who Thrive, the key to raising confident and resilient children, that was just a couple weeks ago. We haven't gotten that one yet, but that was awesome. And the whole time we were online, Amy and I were, texting each other saying, oh, we could use snippets of this when we get it back to do even train some of the staff or have really good conversations with staff about high expectations language and the things that we can do to help kids feel confident in the classroom and out, and also bring it to some parent nights ourselves and maybe have more discussion-based forums. So the resources from these 3 series I think will last well beyond this year. So we're really grateful to be able to offer them. And we've had a lot of conversations behind the scenes. It's just ways to reimagine some of our parent nights coming up, not necessarily this year, but taking what we've learned this year to next year, reimagine some open houses and get parents more engaged. And we piloted a focus group so far this year, just really trying to see what parents want and what they need. So we're really proud that we were at least able to offer these opportunities to people this year in hopes that we can expand that next year. The other cool thing about these is we did try to incorporate, as Amy said, into the assemblies and into the work with kids during the day, so that it could hopefully help facilitate conversations that parents could have at home with kids, and kids would, in theory, know and be on the same page because they're having these same conversations at school with their teachers. So, any questions?
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate, I got to go to the Beyond the Screen one, and it was, Katie Greer's a really great speaker. And so I know it's not easy, to find the right way to get people out, or do you do Zoom or what do you do? But I just really appreciate that you keep experimenting with different ways. I'm really looking for what creates that engagement, and doing a focus group is great. And so I think anyone that I talked to that went to any of these just loved that you did them, and even people that didn't get to go but maybe heard it later just really appreciated that that you're making that kind of opportunity available. So thank you for continuing to put this out there.
Do you have plans for next year yet? Have you started to think, or is it too? I know we're only April, but have you started to think about doing the same number, continuing with the Zoom or in person, or a combination?
I'm sure we've thought about it individually. But we just had our last one a couple weeks ago, so we have not. We're kind of now in the middle of MCAS, so but we will. I think it is something we would like to continue. We just, as Nicole was saying, kind of still figure out the right venue for it and the right process for families and caregivers to want to attend, and find topics that are going to intrigue people. And hopefully we can continue our relationship with Bloom, because they are rock solid,
Awesome.
wonderful resource.
Awesome.
If there was a way maybe in the loop to include a link to these recordings of the Zoom with a little highlight about some big takeaways, it might be a really good way to capture some more eyeballs on it.
That's exactly what I was just thinking, because I wonder if there might be people who don't have students in our system but who live in our community who would benefit, and also grandparents or aunts and uncles who would appreciate this. The other thing I wonder is whether it would ever be appropriate to share these beyond Rockport Public Schools. I don't know, but I think the topics are great, and I think that if people can just find the time, I'm sure that's what the challenge is, the information would be so good. So thank you for doing it.
Yeah, I think we've talked about momentum too, like, you know, not to beat ourselves up if it's only 20 people, that's 20 people, right? And so, to your point, when you go, you realize it's worth it, and word of mouth sometimes will spread. So I think if you get momentum and they can continue to have the energy to put the series together and stay on top of topical issues, you know, then it becomes 30 or 40, or somebody brings a friend to the next one, or we talk about expanding and partnering down the road with other entities and see how it looks. But this is, for the first year, this is really, really cool work. It is above and beyond. It's extra work. And I appreciate that you're doing it. I appreciate that you're sort of tied it to the school committee's initiative around communication and advocacy and partnering. And so thank you for doing it.
I was kind of wondering not to, I know you haven't even gotten to talk about it yet. And it's MCAS and no pressure. But thinking about what Amy had said about, you know, sort of other people in the community, I wonder if it might be something to experiment with. Like, we decided to bring our school committee meetings to the library, right? Because people out in the community had this sort of like, can we go in the school? Are we allowed to be in the school? So I kind of just wonder what would happen if maybe we offered one that was at the library, or it was in a different, no pressure. But, and I don't know all the complications with that and people coming out, but maybe something to think about.
The other thing that came up in the focus group that I ran a few weeks ago was also trying to make them a social experience for parents. So, you know, like the Zoom things you can, or you're projecting on a screen, it's talking at you. So one parent had a great idea about like a different school he had been at where they did a potluck and they got to bring, you know, something that meant something to them, something they cooked either culturally or just a tradition or something, and then they had an opportunity to connect with parents that maybe they don't normally talk to because their kids aren't on the same sports teams or they're not theater students or whatever, and then maybe it would give them a means to connect and us a means to share. So maybe just changing it up slightly to make it more of a social experience is something that we, again, haven't really gotten a chance to talk about, but we've been thinking about in silos. So there may be things that we can think about doing next year that could use this but make it a little bit more accessible to everybody. And I like the idea of even changing up the location too, but yeah. Oh yeah, you know, why not? I mean, but if you can't bring anything, they're like, if you can't bring anything, it's okay, you know, just come anyway, but it's just something. Yeah. Thank you.
We're going to let the administration take off.
Real quick before you leave, Ms. Waterman, I just want to say I got an opportunity yesterday to volunteer with Run Club with Miss Kniff, and I just have to say I was so excited that my kids get to be a part of that. I mean, seeing not only like are they out there in the morning getting the opportunity to exercise and learn some healthy habits, like the community that she builds, the teamwork, the support, like it was just, I mean, every kid out there was doing their best and it was really cool to see. And when you say like, does Rockport have enough? Like, I think we all think that, but when I look at when those Google Forms come out and it's all of the options for before and after school activities that our kids are able to participate in, you know, it's really something special. Thank you.
So we're going to come back to subcommittee updates. Start with policy if you want.
Yes.
The policy subcommittee did meet recently and went through part of section J, our last section. We made about a third of the way through, and we have 2 more meetings scheduled. Our plan is to finish. We will finish, I will say, so that we have time to get that back to the full committee. That's really where we're at. And I think tonight doing a second read of our couple other sections. So
So tonight, on the screen, you have your second read for the policies that we discussed at our last meeting and reviewed and had a first read on. The only change that we'll make to tonight's plan is when we take the motion, we're going to exclude IKF. That is the policy on graduation requirements. So we need to take the information that Ms. Goodhue had presented a couple weeks ago around competency determination and graduation requirements, and we'll be sure to update that, and then we'll come back for a second read on that particular policy. There are a couple other cleanups, and so I appreciate the close reads everybody continues to do. So you can either do a close read and email Mark or Amy, and then I'll get it that way, or if you prefer to just email me directly, if you stumble across something and you see, a name that shouldn't be in there, or you say, oh, geez, this looks like it's redundant, or there's something going on with it, tell me now. And what I'm going to do is keep a running record, and I'll do my own close reads with your edits. And call those all Scrivener errors, and we'll create that. We'll correct them, and then I'm going to kick it back to Alicia. And the hope is right before that final meeting that I'm going to get her to share a really clean version, and we'll print another set for all of you of the cleanest version right before we take that final vote, whatever that happens in the second to last meeting. So tonight we just need the motion that's before you with the exclusion of IKF.
Okay. So I'm going to ask, though, if anybody had any feedback before we move forward with the vote to accept these clean versions. Does anybody have any additional questions after the second read? No, I'm not seeing any. Okay, great. So then I'm seeking a motion to accept the clean versions of these presented policies in the above form on your what is this form?
Agenda.
On your agenda. So that would be policy KBF. Oh, this is great because I can't see. Section E, Section G, except for those noted, and Section I with the exclusion of IKF.
So moved.
Seconded.
Great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Communication and advocacy did meet recently.
We did. We met. We had a nice conversation. We debriefed in the loop, and the nice feedback that we got. We started to talk about when the next edition will come out, how large it should be. We need some time to think a little bit about what the focus should be. We also talked a little bit about the possibility of interspersing those big newsletter formats with shorter postcard formats. And then I think the conversation at some point is going to move from in the loop to then what next. And we've talked as a group over time about whether it would be possible for us to make ourselves available periodically in a way that makes it obvious that we are school committee members. I think we all think about things like the farmers market or those kind of community events. And so that is something that we'll start to talk about. We might reach out to all of you for some ideas. It feels like we've gotten a lot done this year, and we're not done, right? What else can you think of, Jess? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think the subcommittee will be looking to you to help figure out what are those moments in time throughout the calendar year in Rockport that you can leverage socially for opportunities for either members of the leadership team, members from the school committee, or in a perfect scenario, a blend of leadership team and school committee to be out there in the public really advocating and demonstrating the values of the school district and sharing the stories authentically. Or just being visible. Right? Just being out there, letting people know we're here and we're working for kids.
I feel like tonight our student presentations were the very best advocacy you could ever ask for a school system. I mean, it's really powerful to hear those students speak. And so my brain is thinking about whether there's a way for the whole community to hear those kinds of stories. They are so powerful, and so I think that was a great presentation, and it really makes me start to think more about what do we need to share with people and why. Thank you.
I wasn't sure if there was a wellness update. I don't think there is since the last time, right?
Not really. Just to remind people, we're having the community event on May 10th. It's Play Day for everybody, for all ages. So it's looking really exciting. There's going to be pickleball clinics and bike rides in the woods and bubbles and art from the art museum and all kinds of things. And Lassen, who was speaking up there, she's the sort of the senior leader on it. So she's going to be taking a leadership role in getting some of these things going, which is great to have that student. And I think bringing some other students along, but she's going to kind of be the main contact for that. So if anyone has any ideas of kinds of play that they would like to see, or anything you'd like to lead, if anyone has a special play skill that just you juggle, I don't know. So yeah, that's going to be exciting. But
That's fabulous. Okay, do we have any unfinished business that we need to cover tonight? June, any finance talk? Okay, great. Anything else that anybody wants to bring up right now? Okay, great. Do we have a need for executive session?
We do not.
Yes. I see that somebody, now usually public comment is earlier, but if you would like to. Would you like to come up to the, yeah, so because we are being recorded, we can hear you, but the recording can't hear you, so just press the button and identify yourself. Oh, you have to press the, there you go. There you
Just
go.
let us know who you are.
Very low tech here. I hadn't thought that I was going to be speaking, and first I want to say I don't have the words to describe how impressed I was with the student presentations. It's just kind of mind-boggling. But then secondarily, I was jotting some notes down in terms of what I headlined community PR. And I was thinking how impressive it was to get the LEAP newsletter. And I heard other people talking about it. And I just remembered thinking, given that I'm a grandparent of a pre-K and a first grader, when I meet with groups of people and they say, oh, Rockport can't afford, public high school, and I am reminded of the value of a newsletter like that, the value of hearing the quality of the education students are getting with the presentations, the reference to the Bloom meetings, because I had, before people spoke, I had jotted a note to myself, make sure you look at the website so that you can go to some of those things. And I think the idea of the library, where a lot of seniors come for various things, is a great idea. And then lastly, I was remembering, I think it was 7 years ago, because my daughter's mother-in-law was visiting from California, and I think had some concerns about the quality of the education. Her kids had gone to private school. And I remember how impressed we were. There was a school-wide program where students met here to talk about science, and at the Shaylin Lou to talk about music and whatever. And that kind of, I was able to use that, prior to even having grandchildren. I mean, I think they were probably newborns or something. But anyways, the community PR, and I just mostly want to thank people because this is so impressive and it's so reassuring to me, because sometimes I come thinking, oh, you got to find out what's going on. And when I see finance and I see the bigger picture in, what's happening in our world, then I think, wow, this is top-notch quality. So thank you, each of you. And next time I'll try to remember, but I won't know if I would need to make a comment ahead of time. So it's hard to schedule it. But anyways, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. I think we're done for the night. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Good night.